Hello students, this is Coach Holliday, and today's lesson we're going to look at parallel lines. Before we get started, go ahead and get your notes out and turn to the section on parallel lines, and we'll go ahead and get started. If you'll remember from middle school, parallel lines are defined as two lines that never intersect or never cross. We're going to take that definition a little further in this lesson and discuss what parallel lines have in common mathematically. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to look at these two examples that I have for you, or a few examples I have for you here on this paper. Notice that in the picture, or in the coordinate plane, lines A and B are parallel to each other, and lines C and D are also parallel to each other. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the slope of each of these two lines and compare them. Okay, so let's look at line A and find the slope of line A. So we'll just pick a point. If I pick a point on line A, and I'm going to do my rise over run from one point to another point. So I'm going to go from this point to that point. Doesn't matter which 2 points. So I'm going to go up. My rise is 2, and my run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 2 over 2, and my run is 4, and 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. So the slope of line A is 1/2. Now let's look at line B. Let's pick 2 points on line B, say here and here. So I'm going to draw my step, and that means I'm going to go do my rise 1, 2, 3, and my run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so my rise is 3, or my delta y is 3. My run, or my delta x, is 6. 3 over 6 reduces to 1/2. So if we'll know the slope of line A and the slope of line B are both 1/2. Let's look at lines C and D. Look at those. You'll notice that lines C and D are both parallel. So I'm going to look at line C, and I'm going to pick 2 points, say those 2 points. I'm going to do my rise, which is actually a fall, and my run. So my rise is 1, 2, 3, 4 down, so -4, and then 2 to the right. So my rise is -4, my delta y is -4, my run is 2, my delta x is 2. -4 divided by 2 is -2. So the slope of line C is -2. Now let's pick the slope of line. Look at the slope of line D. All right, and we'll put it between those 2 points. Draw my step. All right, so I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then over 3. So my rise is -6 because I went down. My run is 3. -6 over 3 is -2. So if you'll notice, looking at this, my slope for line A is 1/2. My slope for line B is 1/2. Notice that those two are equal to each other. The slope of those two parallel lines are equal. Lines C and D are parallel. The slope of line C is -2, and the slope of line D is also -2. So we found that the slope of those two lines, which are parallel, is also equal. So what can we conclude about the slopes of parallel lines? Well, that's simple. All right, parallel lines have the same slope. So that's what we learned from our example about parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. So we're going to use this information we just got to complete this chart. So I've got a line with a given slope, and I want to look at a line that has a slope that's parallel to that. So if the given slope, if a line has a slope of 2/3, a line that's parallel to that also has a slope of 2/3. A line that has a slope of -4, a line that's parallel to that has a slope that's also -4. A line that has a slope of -1/4, a line that's parallel to it has a slope that's -1/4. Alright, you see if you can figure out the other three. Take just a moment and then check back in. Okay, so a line with a slope of 2 has a parallel line that has a slope of 2, 0, 0, undefined, undefined. So what we've come across here, and what we've got to remember from this, is that parallel lines have the same slope. Alright, so now we're going to look at the next example. We're going to use the slopes to determine if the lines are parallel. So what we need to do is we need to pull the slope out of each of these lines and see if they're the same. To do that, remember that the lines have to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. If you'll notice, the first equation is y equals mx plus b, and the second one's also y equals mx plus b, so we're in good shape here. Negative 1/2 is the slope of the first line. The slope of the second line is 2. Notice these slopes are different from each other, so these two lines are not parallel. Okay. How about the next example? You take a chance, or take the opportunity and try to figure this one out. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you've done the work, come back and check and see how you did. Okay, if you notice, the slope in the first line is 3. The slope in the second line is 3, because they're both written in y equals mx plus b form. So since they have the same slope, they are parallel. Hope you found that pretty easy. Alright, last example. Now in this example, we're going to use what we learned from about parallel lines to go ahead and write the equation of a line. Okay, so what this says to us, it says to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Remember, when you see that, write y equals mx plus b of the line that passes through the given point and is parallel to the graph of the given equation. Right, so I put down at the bottom right our little description of how to write the equation of a line when you don't have the slope and y-intercept. So the first thing you have to have, remember, is you have to have a point on the line, and we do have a point on the line, 2, 9. The next thing we need to have is the slope of the line. Well, we don't have the slope specified or written out, but I do say that this is parallel to the graph of the given equation. Okay, so it's parallel to this equation. If it's parallel, it means they have the same slopes. So what I want to do is make sure the equation is written in y equals mx plus b form, and then pull out the slope. Well, it is written in y equals mx plus b form. So the slope is that 5/2, the number that's multiplied by the x. So m, or the slope, equals 5/2. So I do have the slope. I have the slope and a point. So now I'm going to look at y equals mx plus b. I'm going to substitute in the slope and then my point, my x and my y, and find b, just like I did in the last 3 lessons. So my y is 9 equals, my slope is 5/2 times 2, which is my x, plus b. And now I'm going to solve for the b. Okay, so I'm at 9 equals 5/2 times 2 is just 5. It's 10/2, which reduces to 5, plus b. Now I'm going to solve for the b by subtracting 5 from both sides. Those make my 0 pair. 9 minus 5 is 4, so 4 equals b. So now I have my y-intercept, I have my slope that came from the other equation, so my new equation will be y equals, substitute my m, or my slope in for m, times x, plus my y-intercept, which I found was 4. And there's the equation of a line that is parallel to this line and passes through the point 2, 9. Alright, I hope that made sense to you. If you have any questions about this video, go ahead and rewind and look back at those parts. Otherwise, make sure you complete the WISC, and we'll see you in class.